Hey guys, so my name is Katie Bolio, and I will be presenting on leadership versus management, as well as the functions of leadership and management. So to start off, we have leadership versus management. Um, the basic idea is that the terms leadership and management are often used interchangeably, but they also have very distinct differences between the roles and the responsibilities of specifically a leader and a manager, and often there can be a crossover effect. So to further that description on the previous slide, the definitions of leader and management can be here. So for a leader can often be described as the visionary, the one who sets the goals and the direction for the organization, as well as having the capacity to inspire and motivate people towards achieving their goals. Um, they also seem to produce the change and movement within an organization. And onto manager. A manager can be often described as the one who focuses on the actual work and the organizational tasks to achieve the goals. It also has the strong management skills can provide a sound foundation for productive leadership. Managers also seem to seek order and stability. So you guys can kind of see that there is a huge difference here between the two, but then they can also be used interchangeably in the workplace or in an organization as well. So the table presented here can be found in your book as table 1.1, listed as educational management versus educational leadership. This just kind of goes more off of the fact of the differences between management and leadership. But then again, you can also see some similarities in there. Obviously, for a manager, making up a role, the manager seeks more of a stability where the leader can change it. Decision making, manager makes decisions and the leader facilitates the decisions. How they approach a certain situation, a manager tends to plan details around specific constraints or things that can happen, or even a specific schedule, even. Whereas a leader kind of sets and leads in a specific direction, regardless of the constraints. Um, for a vision, a manager kind of is a short term, kind of today, wanting to get it done soon as possible. What's the next step? As in, what's the next step for today? Whereas a leader kind of has a long term horizon where they kind of look on to the future and how their specific um, goals can help in the long term and set them up for success. For control, a manager is more than likely has a formal influence where a leader has personal charm. Managers tend to appeal to being to their head, meaning they more than likely let their mind lead in the direction of where they want to go, whereas a leader kind of has their heart lead them where they want to go or where their goals are being led to. The culture of a manager is kind of they endorse a lot of things, whereas the leader kind of shapes. The action of a manager is they're very reactive, whereas a leader is proactive. Um, Managers' risk level is they minimize the amount of risk, whereas a leader tends to take risks. Um, a manager for rules makes the rules, leaders break the rules. Um, the direction they want to, so managers want to stay on the existing direction and keep a status quo or kind of keep sticking to schedule, whereas a leader kind of finds a new direction, challenges the norms, or kind of goes on their own path. Um, Values for a manager is they want to see results, whereas a leader wants to see achievement. The concern for a manager is making sure that they're doing the right thing, but that's also the same for the leader is doing the right thing. So that's where you can see the similarities in both of these. The manager also has a tendency to focus on managing work, whereas a leader tends to lead people. Obviously, it sounds the same as far as manager, managing, leader, leading, kind of goes hand in hand there. And with human resource, a manager tends to subordinates, whereas a leader has a bunch of followers. So now we're going to take the next step towards more of the functions of leadership and management. In your chapter 1, you can see in the text that it says, Cotter from 1990 further explains that the functions of management and leadership are distinctly dissimilar. This is due to the leadership producing change and movement within the organization, while the management seeks order and stability. So you guys can kind of see the difference between the two there. There is also more of a statistic view where scholars such as Euclid from 2010 and Nichols and McHugh and then McHugh 2010 view leadership as a function of good management, such that they are not mutually exclusive notions. So you can kind of see how some tend to like treat this as more of a hand in hand kind of situation where leadership and management can go hand in hand, whereas Cotter sees that they are very different. So you can kind of see that there's a ton of different views on how this all goes, but it really depends on the viewpoint of the specific person. So this table is basically to just reestablish what we said on the last slide. Obviously, table 1.2, functions of management and leadership. You can see the differences between leadership and management. Again, how management produces order and consistency, whereas leadership produces change and movement. On the management side, you can see that a manager has the tendency of planning and budgeting, establishing agendas, setting timetables, allocating resources, organizing and staffing, providing structure, making job placement, establishing rules and procedures. They also are very good at controlling and problem solving. In specific situations, they like to develop incentives, generate creative solutions, and take corrective action. Whereas the leadership side, again, produces change and movement by establishing direction, creating a vision, clarifying a big picture, setting strategies, aligning people, communicating good goals, seeking commitment, building teams and coalitions, and then as well as motivating and inspiring. They have a tendency to inspire and energize, empower subordinates, and satisfy unmet needs. So a leadership is huge, huge in teamwork. And yeah, so that is my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.